There is a lot of talk about boundaries, having healthy boundaries. What does it mean to have a healthy boundary? What are the things that are needed for a boundary to be effective? The first thing that is really important to have a healthy boundary or a boundary which will be effective is to be clear and specific about the outcome. Say for example, my child is going down to play and I tell the child, come home early. Now it is vague and ambiguous. For the child 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock might be early, and for us 7:30 might be early. So there is a mismatch of the outcome of what we are thinking in the mind. So it's necessary that we are clear that it's 8:30 or it is 9 or it is 7:30, so that it is clear for the child too. The next thing is to have a win-win. So it is not just about meeting my need, it is also about meeting the child's needs. Now the child's need, you might say, is 10 o'clock in the night. Well, that doesn't work for me. Neither does the 7 o'clock work for the child. So we need to find a midway which works for both of us, where we both are willing and accepting of the time that we have set. So a win-win is important when we are setting a boundary. The third thing is to have a certain consequence. Now when we talk about consequence, there is a misconception or a confusion with punishment to what is decided. Now here we are not talking about a punishment, but we are talking about a consequence that the child and the parent together decide. So if the child says, I will come back by 8:30 and comes back by 9, so he sets a consequence for himself, saying that I may not go down for the certain amount of days or do something else. So the parent also needs to agree to that. If both are in agreement and a consequence is set, then it is important to follow through with the consequence. Sometimes as parents we let go. Sometimes the child pressurizes us so much that we just give in. It doesn't mean that you need to be very rigid. You can be flexible. At the same time, that boundary, if we both maintain it, it helps both the parties to make it more effective. And the fourth point is, at times when we talk about boundary, it's important to prepare. Say for example, you are going to the mall and you know that there are going to be some challenges coming up there. So it's important to sit down and discuss with the child about maybe say the budget or what you're going to be doing there, or what is the specific purpose you're going there for, so that the child is clear, you are clear. It does not mean that the child will not try to break that boundary or push that boundary a bit. But if you're firm and reasonable, you will find that you have a much happier outing than a conflicted situation out there. At times parents have this concept that these boundaries can be set as children grow up to a certain extent. But what we say is, when you are able to negotiate with your child, a child even who is a 3-year-old can figure out his options which work for him and which don't work for him. So what we would suggest is parents can start using negotiation skills and setting these boundaries with your kids as young as 2 or 3. Please look at them as being capable of coming up with their own options and coming up with their solutions too. Thank you.